Hello everybody and welcome back to the Data Playbook. Today we have the Sunday pregame reviews, so let's get right into it. Moving into our next game, you have the Saints at LA, where the Rams are favored on the money line with a spread of 14 points and a total line of 43.5. Looking into the stats, the best you have from New Orleans is their allowed passing rank, where they're pretty good, top third at stopping teams from passing on them. However, everything else is bottom third or bottom half, except for their tight end statistics. With LA, they're passing rank of 4 and allowed scoring rank of 3, meaning they're very good at stopping other teams from scoring, and they're very good at throwing on other teams, which differs significantly from their allowed passing rank, meaning they're much better at stopping tight ends than they are just generally stopping at teams at throwing on them. Other than that, they're a little below average at their rushing rank, their tight end rank, about average at their rushing rank. So let's look at the averages to let those line up. So for your quarterbacks here, you have a replacement of Spencer Rattler with Tyler Sherrill and Matthew Stafford for the Rams. Tyler doesn't have too much this season yet to show, and even so, he doesn't have a complete game. So we'll just leave all of this the way it is. With Stafford, I'll move it to the averages and just note that he gets an average of 19.2 PPR points per game. He also has 2 passing interceptions and 1 fumble lost due to a sack, as well as 1 rushing fumble. As part of our pie here, I think we'll see the number here later with some other players, but I think that's probably about 10% of the carries that Stafford gets on the team. And over here with Tyler, even though that he has 3 carries this season, really I need an average of more than 1 per game, so he doesn't really show up yet. For the running backs, you have Alvin Kamara and Kyren Williams. Kamara has an average of 10.2 PPR points per game, and Kyren Williams has an average of 15.7 PPR points per game. The turnovers for Alvin Kamara has 1 turnover, which comes from a rushing fumble, and Kyren Williams has 2 rushing fumbles. Alvin Kamara has 1 fumble due to a receiving fumble, while Kyren Williams has both his fumbles due to a rushing fumble. Flopped over to your season averages, and looking at their carry share, Alvin Kamara gets 52.9% of the team's carry share. A large percentage here also goes to Kendre Miller. Kyren Williams gets 64.8% of all the carries on the team. Another 24.8% coming from Blake Corum. For our number 1 wide receivers, we have Chris Olave and Puka Nacua. Olave averages 14.7 PPR points per game, while Nacua averages 23.1 fantasy points per game. The only notable turnover here is Chris Olave with 1 interception. And then moving over to the averages and looking at their receiving share, you have Chris Olave with 29% of the team's receiving share, which is the largest part of the team's receiving share. And you have Puka with 33% of the team's receiving share, which is also the largest of any individual on the team. Looking at the number 2 receivers, you have Rashid Shaheed and Devontae Adams. Shaheed has 11.6 average PPR points per game, and Devontae Adams has an average of 15.7 PPR points per game. And the only turnover between them two is Shaheed with a receiving fumble. And then looking at the averages and their team share, Shaheed has a total of 24.8% of the team's total receiving share, which does make him the number 2 one. And Devontae Adams has 23% of the team's entire receiving share over here on the Rams, which also makes him a clear number 2 amongst everybody else. And then looking at the tight ends, you have Juwan Johnson and Tyler Higbee. Johnson averages 9.6 PPR points per game. Tyler Higbee averages 5. Juwan Johnson only has 1 receiving. The only turnover between them two is Juwan Johnson with 1 receiving fumble. And then just looking at their averages and what they get from their team, Juwan Johnson gets 21.2% of the team's receiving share, and Tyler Higbee gets 6.4%. So based on this, it seems like the Rams should take this game, especially being home, even though they have a poor rushing rank and a pretty good passing rank going against a top third pass defense. If the Saints can really shut them down, maybe they can win, but the numbers would suggest that LA has a strong chance of winning. So that's all I have for this game today. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and subscribe, and leave a comment on what else you might want to see in the future. Other than that, thank you so much for watching.